Hola, ¿cómo están? Welcome to my channel, Hooked on Spanish. Today we're going to learn about the indirect and direct object pronouns and how do we use them in sentences. We're going to start with the indirect object pronouns. Here we have the indirect object pronouns me, te, le, nos, os, les. We have a sentence here that we're going to use as a model. And is mi madre le compra zapatos a José. My mother buys shoes for José. When an action results in some advantages or disadvantages for a person who is not the direct object, an indirect object pronoun is used. And we can see here that we are using le. Because my mother is buying shoes for José. And José is a third person singular. That's why we use le. Now notice that I'm using the charts with the same format as I have been using for all my lessons. Then if you go to one of my first lessons, you will realize that these match the yo me, tú te, él, le, ella, and usted. Nosotros nos, vosotros sos, ellos, ellas, and ustedes les. Then all my charts match the conjugations of the verbs and all the pronouns. Now, if we ask a question with who benefits or gets affected from the action in the sentence, then the answer will be José. Because in this case, it's a benefit. The mother buys shoes for José. Who benefits from that? José. That's the indirect object. And we have to place the indirect object pronoun. Now notice that a José is in parentheses. It is in parentheses because we can take it out. If in the context of the conversation, we know that my mother buys shoes for José, we don't have to say a José. We said, mi madre le compra zapatos. Now, we can take the le out and we can say mi madre compra zapatos para José. We are changing the preposition here from a to para. Now, when we take para José out, then the sentence doesn't have the indirect object pronoun. And then the sentence reads as mi madre compra zapatos. Then is different. The meaning from mi madre compra zapatos to mi madre le compra zapatos is different. Because with the le, we know that my mother is buying shoes for somebody. But when we take the le out, it can be mi madre compra zapatos todos los meses. My mother buys shoes every month. See, now it's no longer buying shoes for somebody, but it's a statement that my mom buys shoes. Since le and les each have three possible antecedents, a pronoun qualifier with a may be used to avoid ambiguity. That's why we have in here that we can use a él, a ella, a usted, or a ellos, a ellas, a ustedes. You can also substitute the pronouns él or ella for names, like I did here, substitute a él por José, to be more specific about the shoes for José and not for him, okay? Now, when we use the other prepositional pronouns like a mí, a ti, a nosotros, a vosotros, is just for emphasis because you don't need to clarify the first and second person of singular plural, but you can make the sentence stronger. You can put them at the end or you can put them also at the beginning. If it was for me, I can say, a mí, mi madre me compra zapatos. To me or for me, my mother buys shoes, or buys the shoes. Okay, now we're going to go to the direct object pronouns. The direct object pronouns are me, te, le, lo, la. The plural nos, os, les, los, and las. Now notice that they're exactly the same except that in the direct object pronoun we have lo and la and los and las. Now the le for the direct object pronoun is used for people. the le and the les. The lo and la is original for things, lo, la, los, and las. But in Latin America, we start using lo, la, and los, and las with the purpose to identify the gender. Then the lo is for the masculine singular and la feminine singular, los masculine plural, and las feminine plural. Now, a question with what? If you ask a question, what does my mother buy? The answer will be the direct object. And in this case, the direct object is zapatos. What does my mother buy? Shoes. Zapatos. If we want to substitute this for the direct object pronoun, we go by the gender and the number. And because zapatos is plural and is a noun that is masculine, we have to choose los. Then the sentence becomes, mi madre los compra. That is going to be, my mother buys them. Now, notice this sentence doesn't have the indirect object. This is just the direct object. Now, let's see another examples of direct object. Yo quiero comprar un carro. I want to buy a car. Now, what do I want to buy? To buy a car. That's the direct object in the sentence. And now it's masculine and singular. It's going to be substitute for lo. Then you can say yo lo quiero comprar. You can put the indirect objects and the direct objects, you can put them in front of the conjugated verb, or you can attach it to infinitives and ing words. If the sentence has an ing word, then you can say yo lo quiero comprar, yo quiero comprarlo. Let's see the next one. Yo quiero comprar una casa. Feminine and singular. Will be substitute for la. Yo la quiero comprar, yo quiero comprarla. Yo quiero comprar chocolates. Masculine plural. It's going to be substitute for los. Yo los quiero comprar, yo quiero comprarlos. Yo quiero comprar las flores. What is las flores going to be substitute for? For las. That's correct, las. What do I want to buy? Las flores. That's the direct object. The direct object pronoun is las. Then it will be yo las quiero comprar or yo quiero comprarlas. Now let's see both together. We have here the indirect object pronouns and the direct object pronouns. And the sentence with both of them. Mi madre le compra zapatos a José. For whom my mother buys the shoes? For José. José is the one that benefits from the action. Then that is the indirect object pronoun. And because a José is a clarification of the indirect object pronoun, that's why you have to have the le. Because otherwise what a José is doing in here, if you don't have an indirect object pronoun. Indirect object, the a José is clarifying the le. Compra zapatos. What does my mother buy? Zapatos. That's the direct object. And zapatos is going to be substitute for los. Then it's going to be mi madre se los compra. My mother buys them for him. Notice that when we have both together, first the indirect and second the direct object. And this is always, it's a rule that is not going to change. When you have both object pronouns together, first goes indirect and then followed by the direct object pronoun. Now, we're going to see why this is not le and why this is se. Before I go there, I'm going to point out here that you also can change this sentence and take the le out, and it will be mi madre compra zapatos para José. The same case. as before. You know, mi madre compra zapatos para José. But if you take the para José out, you end with mi madre compra zapatos todos los meses, every month. That is just a statement and need not buying shoes for anybody. Okay, let's go and see now how the le changed for se. Zapatos is los. Okay, mi madre le los compra because le is here, right? But this is not correct. This will be wrong because there is a rule that says if you have two L words together, when the indirect and the direct start with an L, you have to change indirect for se. You have to change it for a se. That's what the sentence becomes. Mi madre se los compra. Or mi madre se los compra a José. This one is the correct one. Now you have to be careful not to confuse this se with the reflexive pronoun. If you don't remember the reflexive pronouns, or you hadn't studied reflexive pronouns, please go and check my lesson 7 and review them. Then this is the le that changed to se because of the rule. Let's see other examples. Yo les sirvo pollo a los niños. I serve chicken to the children. Okay, ¿qué les sirvo? What do I serve to the children? Pollo, that's the direct object. Now, pollo is masculine and singular will be lo. Now, because the les starts with an L again, both words with the L, we have to change les for se. Yo se lo sirvo. Now, an example when this doesn't change. The indirect object wouldn't change because te doesn't start with an L. Tú te sirves pollo. Tú te lo sirves. There is no changing here because this word doesn't start with an L. Yo le hablo a mi madre todos los días. I talk to my mother every day. The indirect object pronoun. Now, how you take it out? You change the preposition. De a, you take it out. You change it for con. Yo hablo con mi madre todos los días. I talk with my mother every day, and you don't have to use it. You have to use the indirect object pronoun when there is a clarification in the sentence and is introduced by an a with the preposition a. You do need to have the indirect object pronoun. We're going to see where you place them then. You already saw that you place them in front of the conjugated verb. Now you can also place them in the back of infinitives. Infinitives are the ones that is in AR, ER, and IR. And you have here examples. Yo voy a comprar, yo voy a comprar una casa. I'm going to buy a house. Una casa, the direct object is la. Then you will say, yo la voy a comprar. Now here you have an infinitive and you can place them in the back as a one word. You can say, yo voy a comprarla. Let's see it with the ing words. Yo estoy comprando una casa. I'm buying a house. You put it in front of the conjugated verb. That is estoy. And la casa is singular. And feminine is la. Then yo la estoy comprando. And if you move it to the back, yo estoy comprando la. Okay, now you see how they work and where do we place them. Now, notice how important it is to know the gender of the words. In the very beginning of my lessons, I asked the students, please learn vocabulary with el and la in front. Because if you memorize the vocabulary with the definite articles in front, you will be memorizing the gender. And that's very important. See you next time. To learn more about the Spanish Class Cafe, visit us at www.thespanishclasscafe.com. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to keep up with the lessons. Bye for now. Hasta luego.